God bless you guys. This is Sean here. I just want to come on here and talk to you about some different stuff. If you're, on this channel, you've been on here, I don't just speak about the Bible, but I speak about a lot of spiritual things and about how Satan, his tactics, he works, and he works behind the scenes. There's a great evil that drives all the wars that happen, is driven in the kingdom of darkness. The battles that are fought, they're fought in the second heaven. This new Candyman movie that came out today, or yesterday, I should say. I've been telling you guys before that the Candyman really is the devil. And it's just a legend that he uses through different people. And he tries to use people's pain or people's ethnic differences or whatever to get in their skin. Like, using Tony Todd and doing it for this whole racial thing. He's trying to do it to bring out the spirit of vengeance. I was hearing they were going to try to create a race war in the kingdom of darkness. And I tried to tell a guy who was a black guy, and he got offended by it. And I didn't mean anything about it. I'm just saying this is what Satan's going to do. And he did it years later. Satan did it. George Floyd was a sacrifice of the devil. And Satan, the whole king of the north and the king of the south fighting, we can learn from these two guys. Because it's like man against man, and Satan is driving it. The dragon is driving them to fight. Those two men that become these two antichrists, the beast and the false prophet, he doesn't love them. Satan doesn't love them. Satan knows they're gonna go. I saw how they looked defeated, and they were shocked, and they're gonna be cast in the lake of fire, and it didn't look good for them. But it proves, if you want to go out, if you're one of those fans of those evil horror movies, I'm going to spoil it. I'm going to spoil it. So if you're of the fan of the evil horror movies, you may want to get off this channel. But I'm not a fan of those things. I wouldn't be watching those guys. But I'm studying this stuff. And I'm a spoiler alert on the plot of the movie. The end of the movie, basically it's the devil. It was never those guys. It's like this. It's like ghosts, that appear as people and they're saying, I'm your dead loved one. It's really not ghosts. It's demons. I would say it's demons. In the very forefront, it's the devil appearing as that figure after he has them killed. And so this guy having an art gallery or whatever in the movie, Anthony or whatever, turned out he was a child from the first one, the Candyman and the fires. And I'm going to talk to you about this stuff. Basically the Candyman in the first one, at the end of the movie, he had a fight with this graduate student that was the main woman in the Candyman movie, and they fought, and she burned in a fire. You could see her head burned off, and she saved a baby Candyman was trying to sacrifice for the fire. Into the fire. That baby grows up to be Anthony, the main guy in the movie, who another Candyman is recruiting. And they say that the legend is that basically, whatever it is, the person would turn into Candyman for different people. It would happen, and they would have some kind of hook for a hand. This guy who was, he was seen in the yellow jacket. Think about that yellow jacket, like bees. Was this guy Sherman, and he would give out kids to the neighborhood kids. He would give out candy to the neighborhood kids. He'd go through a wall, and it talks about in scripture about, Ezekiel digged into the wall, and he said, see all the abominations that they're doing. And that candy is like the abominations he's handing out. And it scared the kid to death. The kid ran, and they were saying supposedly this Sherman guy who was in the yellow jacket, that would be another Candyman. He was about to be killed. They were saying, oh, he was good. He was just innocent. He's like, I'm going to say this delicately, but they tried to make him a martyr of a black crime because they're trying to invoke hate in people to start a war, man against man. This is Satan trying to do this. Yeshua talked about you can't fight fire with fire. I tried to do that. I'm the best example. I tried to fight the hate of the wicked with the hate of the wicked, and it does not work. Candyman is telling them in the movies, kill everybody. This is the solution to solve everything. Kill everybody. This is a demonic spirit, and think about this. He had George Floyd sacrificed in the city of Chicago, where the original Candyman is from. Because in the urban legend, the original Candyman was in Chicago. They released this, Satan sacrificed him so he could reintroduce the Candyman story to put vengeance in people. He's trying to raise up vengeance, and he needs a body to do it. So he needed a martyr to do it, just like in the movie. At the very end of the movie, one of the guys has the other guy sacrificed, puts a Candyman blade in his hand, has him sacrificed, fed to the cops so he can be killed, so he can now be a spirit of vengeance and not just a black, like, racial pain. That's what it says in the movie. And this is speaking from the director's point of view, that it was a black woman. So it's not like I'm being racist. I'm trying to tackle this issue because I'm showing you guys this is Satan at work. This is not black or white at work. When a black man or a white man or a Chinese man or whoever kills who, those are demons at work, guys. And we have to attack those things. And I'm going to be dealing with these things in the book, but these are demons. But we know as the body of Christ, we're black, white, Chinese. It says in Scripture, of great multitudes. But Satan's kingdom is divided. That's how his kingdom works in division. Our kingdom's not like that. And if there are any people supposedly in our kingdom that are for one race or another, they're going to be gathered out. And they're going to be herded together with the goats, because God in his kingdom, he has no race. He loves color because he created it for variety, but it's not for division. And Satan wants to do this. And so in the end, he would be raised up. She would call his name Candyman or whatever after he was killed and raise up a new thing. And so the only reason why they're doing this, Satan did this. They didn't care about, the people didn't care about, they really don't, the people, even the directors that are being influenced to do this, the woman doesn't really care about George Floyd, doesn't really care about him. That's that spirit of vengeance, that seed. I can hear the devil speaking through her and directing her to direct this, to put vengeance. He doesn't care about any of them. And I love that. I'm writing this book called Icebreakers, breaking the ice, so to speak, explaining how, like, for instance, God called me to the African region because there was a lot of people that I saw were more soulful over in the African region, that helped train me. And so I'm kind of that region anyway, so I'm not of a race. Icebreakers, breaking the ice, putting things back together that need to be back together, because there's so much division. And I learned you cannot accomplish anything with hate, but I learned how if you have love, God's going to lead me to raise up this rod in Revelation 9, and he will strike the earth and the wicked with vengeance, but it won't be my vengeance, and it won't be me doing it in anger. It'll be me doing it in love and just raising up the rod, just speaking his judgments. And like I said, if your enemies don't hear you, you forgive them. I learned, don't get in conflict. Don't try to fight evil with evil. Don't do that, or it's not going to work, guys. But this movie came out, and I was getting a lot of dreams from God about, the beast and the false prophet, the king of the north and the king of the south. And it says about how the ram had two horns on his head, which are the kings of Media and Persia. Well, the false prophet's kingdom was divided into Media, or I should say, the son of Babylon, Belshazzar, his kingdom was divided into Media and Persia. And I was told specifically in a dream a while back, the king of the Babylon is the first beast. The second beast is the king of Babylon's son. And so, and it says in the book of Revelation, the second beast, he had two horns on his head like a lamb. Those are the kings of Media and Persia. He has on his head, two horns on his head. And I saw them fighting, and I saw one lift up and be raised up, and stirred up. And he's going to come, from what I understand now. So the Media and Persia, that's going to be sort of for the second beast. And then the first one is, from what I understand, he's the goat of Grecia, so from Greece, And you think about the Greek gods and all those and everything, and Olympus and all that, and it makes more sense now, And and this guy is gonna. Kim Peters saw him. He said he had olive-colored skin. You know, I don't know what that means. Like a kind of like I guess like Muslim people that they have that kind of tint of their skin. He has a little bit in between tint. I don't know what it means by that, but he was. I don't think he'll speak English. The Greeks don't speak. You know, Grecians, they don't speak English, and he's going to come in by flatteries and everything and deceive people. The second beast I saw was more like he seemed almost like a pope. I don't think he's a pope, you know, because he's one of those warriors that are fighting in war, but he carried himself like as if he was a pope or somebody like, but very like every eccentric, you know, the second one. The first one seemed more angry, but he's probably not going to show that to people. And I also saw some Colosseums of Rome, or not Rome, but something like Greece or somewhere like that, you know. And so it was giving me that kind of feel of that. That's what I saw a while back when Yeshua was describing in the dreams. But it's kind of mysterious and everything. But the ram, you know, is out of that ram is. If not the ram himself, then out of that ram or that kingdom or whatever you want to call it comes the false prophet, because he has two horns on his head, and the book of Revelation, the second beast, like a lamb, and it tells you the two horns that the ram has are kings of Media and Persia, and the son of Belshazzar, son of Babylon, the second one I was told would be the false prophet. He had, you know, his kingdom was divided and given to the Medes and Persians. There's also some language, some words written in Zechariah about two women having the wind in their wings. And it talks about having wind in their wings in another scripture. And Yeshua was quoting to me, and I don't know, he said something to me, and then I wrote down the time he said it at, and I looked up the verse in Zechariah, the time, and I was blown away. And I was like, whoa, that's out of the book of Zechariah, and I was already looking at that before, trying to figure out this, and so he was confirming that to me. So some of Zechariah is having to do with this war between these kings. The Bible's a very complicated book sometimes, and it's going to take a long time. But he showed me all day yesterday. I laid in bed. I made it in point to lay in bed to get some visions of him. He showed me the war between these two, going back and forth from a spiritual perspective, and how from the Greeks would grow up some kind of like a child, if you want to call it a horn, like they say, the notable horn between his eyes. But he showed me all that, and how this other one was getting pushed back, you know. He was getting pushed backward, and he got pushed into as a false church, as it were. It looked like the Tower of Babel. And when he got pushed into this tower, he's kind of showing me things from a spiritual perspective. Like I said, spiritual things. And I'm not saying that's how it's going to happen, but this second king, or this beast, whatever you want to call it, as a ram, wherein the false prophet comes out of this, whatever it is, this kingdom fell into the water. And then I saw a light turn on, like it sucked it down. And then I saw after that it appear in a tower, and the water just poured out of the tower. And it's speaking spiritually. Going down is into the south, and it's the war between the kings of the south and the north. And you may not understand all this right now, and I may not understand all of it, but he explained a lot of it to me. I just got to go back and study it. And in the first one that attacked him, the way the headless horseman had that tower, like that fan, that windmill, it was like one of those, and he was coming for him, and that headless horseman represented that horn out of Grecia, basically. And Grecia, you know, and it's near England and all those things, and that was said when I looked up, that's where the horseman came from, you know. And I was thinking about how the goats, it said, came from the west, and I would just try to confirm the headless horseman was that goat he was saying to me in the dream. And I remembered, he put it in my mind, the horseman dwelt in the western woods, you know, and so everything, he was putting things together. But when it was like when that one ram, or whatever you want to call it, king or whatever, was sucked down and went over that mountain, tried to climb down at first to get away from that other one attacking him. And when he was trying to climb down through a rope, the rope broke and he landed into the water, and it's like a light switch turned on and sucked him up as a flood, and that's being like the flood of the flesh, and they're so overwhelmed with the war of each other. The ram is so overwhelmed by the attack, it's disastrous for him. It pushes him into something like a Tower of Babel. It looked like a dark tower. And I saw after he got pushed into that, transported into that place, and the water spewed out of the well, and then lightning struck it, and it fell down like the Tower of Babel. And which would create, because a tower, if it's, think about it, the end of my finger, you see the end of my finger? When it lays down, it's like a tree laying down, and now you see a hole where that tree used to be. And so now it's allowing that goat of Grisha to go right into where that man is staying in that horn, or that Tower of Babel, whatever you want to do, in some kind of attack. And I saw them fighting back and forth, and he was going back and forth, like, and I saw a wind, like an east wind blowing, pushing that goat to war with that ram, you know, that ram king of out of which comes a false prophet. It's either the false prophet himself, or out of which comes that, because we know these beasts are like for kingdoms also. And they were warning, and you imagine, you know, Daniel didn't really fully understand what he was seeing when he was seeing it, and it's sort of like for me, I'm trying to come to grips with this. God's gonna show me more later, because this war is gonna happen soon. But he's shown him. It's like he's shown me the book of Daniel from a spiritual perspective, and so these characters take on the characters, say in Hollywood, what they're like. You know, the man. The goat of Grisha is like one who came into a foreign land, you know, for his love of carnage, you know. He loved, for his love of carnage, you know, it says the horseman had, and he actually turned into carnage. And after I woke up, I remembered that the horseman was said for his love of carnage, you know. That's why he would go into foreign lands and invade them. And so he turned into carnage, and he was like venom also. He had the venom of the mouth, and I saw him, the first beast, in another dream, have the mouth of a lion. So the venom is for the mouth, the blasphemies he speaks, and the carnage is for the great carnage he's going to do. And so he was attacking this ram with carnage in the body of it. He transformed into that, and so that's what that represented. And that ram, he was like a stone once. He was almost like, I saw him almost like Peter Parker representing a stone. But when this goat of Grisha attacked him, it's like he became the stone. He became the top dog, or whatever you want to call it. And he had that suit on, of that red suit of Spider-Man without the mask. And it looked like a Grecian man, kind of blonde hair. I'm not saying he has blonde hair, but I'm just saying spiritually that's what it looked like. The goat of Grisha attacking him, you know. First I'd seen him from the headless horseman, represented a man who's cut off from his God. He doesn't have that God as his head, you know. And so he's trying to seek he's trying to just gain territories and everything. And so basically, if I can think of this, that suit he had on that he assimilated from the first one he took, you know, that World Wide Web that represented, a spider suit represented knowledge, you know. And like the World Wide Web you have, and it could also be esoteric. God said to somebody once in a hell testimony, I believe, or something like that, he said that the World Wide Web is the fullness of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And so he's fully, you know, knowing good and evil. And I don't understand fully what that means, but he's reached a stage where he's going beyond return, basically, from what I understand. And he was lifted up, because I had seen that horseman, which was that goat of Grisha. I'd seen him represented in the dream as also a goblin, you know, because the horseman put a pumpkin on for a head, like a foss head, a foss like the devil for his head, you know. A foss head. And then when you put a pumpkin on, I saw his horse changed into a glider, and he was like the Green Goblin. And I woke up and looked at that goat, and sure enough, that goat, it said he came from not touching the ground, just like on a glider, and he glided out. And so he's going to go out on a power that's not his own. And it may be for like, what do you call it? Helicopters, ships, whatever you want to know, but it's also for a demonic power that he's going out on, that he's not. He's lifted up above them, and that power allowed him to be lifted up. And I looked up the Green Goblin. He actually had pumpkin bombs in his hand. And so when that horseman put on a pumpkin for a head, it's like he changed on the Green Goblin, who also has pumpkin bombs. And so I sensed when he put on that jack-o'-lantern, that flaming jack-o'-lantern, it was going to explode his whole body. He was going to become a beast. And so that Grecian guy is going to go to war, and it's going to lead to his transformation into this beast. When he goes to war with that ram, that ram of, whose kingdom is divided, whose two horns are Media and Persia. And so it's going to be like, you're going to see them fighting. Everybody's going to see them fighting because it's going to be a world war, They're going to see these two beasts fighting in the world. You won't be able to see them physically as two beasts, but you're going to see kingdoms fighting. And so behind it all is this book of Daniel and all this stuff. Out of this is going to come the new world order, the Antichrist, and they're going to form an alliance. I saw one offering one a daughter, just like in the dream, but it didn't work out for him. At some point, one of them became a bad, and I think it was a Grecian goat. He became the first beast in the book of Revelation. It's like he became a bad, and it's like I saw wolf skin over him. And I was hearing him say he was a bad, and in the dream, God was just telling me. But he had wolf skin on, like he was in the body of a beast. You ever see like how this Spider-Man suit, for instance, or whichever suit, now you see in the movies, it's like its skin, it's like a neural linked. And so when they think about it, they get swallowed by that animal or that spider, because spider is an animal. And so when he thinks, it's almost like venom. It just closes over his head. So they're starting to do that. So those suits, guys, are not just suits. They're for alien demons. Like I've been telling you all along, they're for alien demons. So this guy's going to dwell in the body of a beast, making him the beast, Just like how Eddie Brock became Venom, This man is going to be a beast. It's like and it confirms because Yeshua said to some person, after the World War III is not going to be the worst part. He showed a 12-year-old boy this, and the boy died later, and this was an epic, like everybody's seen this heaven and hell testimony. Most everybody's seen it. He said there was going to be a war, but that's not the worst part, but there would be like alien demons after that, and they'll be eating people. He said they'll be eating people, and I don't know how it's going to go, but it seems if it's spiritual at the least, these beasts swallow, the host they're representing, just like you see in movies, and so demons are going to fully possess people. That's kind of how I take it. Who knows? We could physically see that for sure. We could physically see these things calling themselves aliens, but they're going to be, these two men are going to be swallowed up by two beasts. They're going to be swallowed up, and they're going to be beasts. And the people that take the mark, they're also going to be swallowed up a beast, because they're going to have no more mind, allowing the demons to go and possess them. And so demons will be taking over the world, literally. It'll be demons ruling over the world. Somebody tried to tell me, he's saying he's not for the New World Order, like a lot of atheists say they are not, but they're also suckered in. And he was telling me like how these aliens, if they come and show us enlightenment, and I was trying to say about how don't believe them, they're false, and he's like, how do you know that? And he's already like trusting of them. He's already trusting them. And I tried to say, well, these aliens, whatever you want to call it, angels are just aliens from other planets, demons, whatever, they got kicked out of their planet, now they want to take over ours. And he's saying, I'll just say F them or something like that. I mean, like, these people don't even have any idea what's coming to them. They have no idea. I can see they're ready to take that mark. Because they're going to be telling them that, this guy's going to claim to be God, and this whole extraterrestrial thing, they're going to do this whole new age thing that they came from the stars, like travelers, to show us the way. They're going to, but it's them speaking from two beasts that they're dwelling in, whether the world sees it or not. And the demons just want to take over the world. They want to take over the world, so they got to mark people and possess people to get in their bodies. So firstly, so they can get them to the lake of fire, because they're going down. And secondly, so they can just sit maybe on it a little while and enjoy the world that they're conquered for a little while before God comes back and throws them into the bottomless pit. And so this is what you guys need to be aware of. This was happening in the days of Noah. He said it would be in the days of Noah. And remember, what were they doing in the days of Noah? They were there was hybrids. There was the Nephilim. And it said in the book of Daniel, they'll mingle themselves with the seed of man, but the iron and the clay won't mix. And they're going to mix iron, of that mark, that microchip. And they're going to mingle themselves with the seed of man through that, because that'll remove the mind, allowing the demons to go and possess the people. And so this isn't just a normal war, Daniel saw it kind of from a fleshly standpoint. But see, he hadn't entered the age we entered in, where we have more knowledge now about demons and all that stuff. And Yeshua came to show us that. And about demons and all the hell testimonies. And God allowed the knowledge of Satan, him to leak his knowledge into these horror movies and all this stuff to show us. We living in the days of Noah right now, guys. So the Nephilim are returning, those fallen are returning, to make hybrids and everything. And this is what it is, mingle themselves with the seed of man. But it's not going to happen until after this 3-year war, which is not going to happen until the beginning of the start of the tribulation. He showed me it's not going to happen until that start. And so that's why we have 3.5 years at that time. That's going to be the time of shaking. So me lifting up that rod, of Revelation 9 is going to escalate that, kick off that war, 3.5-year war. It's going to release Abaddon out of the bottomless pit, and Satan's going to be doing all this stuff. God would have done this with or without me, guys. But at least now you have some information. I'm going to answer your questions, guys. You've had some questions for me. I just need to grab a bite or two. I'm going to answer your questions. I need to let you go now for now, guys, though, because I'm going to be doing some work and stuff on these books and everything. But I am praying for you all. I love you all. Just take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves, guys, and pray in the Psalms and stay out of sin, guys. And I'll see you next time, guys. All right. Shalom.